When an attacker is looking for risks in a website, their job can be made significantly easier if they can simply take a copy of that website offline. Now, to be clear, what I'm talking about is taking a copy of the site as it would be served up over the browser offline. So this is not being able to actually access the underlying source code, the things that execute on the server or the database. It's simply saying, let's grab everything that we would normally see by browsing through the site. Except we'll grab it all automatically, we'll grab it very quickly, and then we'll have a local copy that's going to allow us to inspect the whole thing much more efficiently than if we actually had to step through the whole thing as a live website. So I'm going to use a tool here called WinHTTrack. And as you can see from the title bar here, it is a website copier. Let me show you how it works. I'm simply going to go over here and click on Next. The project name I'll call HYF for Hack Yourself First. We don't need a project category, and the base path of ctemp HYF is just fine. Let's go next. We're going to leave the action there as download website. I'm going to paste in the website address that we want to grab. We'll hit next and then finish. And that is it. We can see that HTTrack is now going off and downloading the site. So all of this content is going to be pulled down into my local file system just as though we'd automatically browsed the site and manually saved everything ourselves. Except it happens with a few clicks. I'm going to let that finish, then we'll come back and have a look at what we've saved offline. Okay, here we go. The mirroring operation is complete. Let me now flick over to Windows Explorer and we'll see what we have. So here is what has been downloaded. We can see an index.html file in the root. Let's jump into that. We've got a little HTTrack screen here, and we can see that we have a link here to HYF. We'll select that. And now this looks like our site. Even the JavaScript modal pop-up and the carousel in the background is operational. So we have a pretty good copy of it. Let's close that and we'll just browse around a little bit. We can view one of the vehicles. And as you can see in the address bar, this is still all on my local system. But it's actually downloaded the whole thing, even down to things like the register link. Now, of course, this is just running locally, so form postbacks, such as registering or logging in, aren't going to be functional. But now we've got a copy of the entire site locally. And that begs the question, how could we, as ethical hackers, use that to our advantage? Well, let me give you an example. I'm going to pull over a text editor. And we can now do a search. Now, the great thing about a text editor like Notepad++ is that we can do a search in a path. And what I want to do is I want to search for password because I'd like to see everywhere that passwords are used in this site. We can see the directory here is set to the path where we mirrored the site, ctemp HYF. Now let's do a find all and we'll see where the word password appears in this site. 226 hits in 21 files. So clearly password does feature quite a bit. Now I can see immediately right here in the find results, there's something that I find a bit interesting. And it's down here, line 129. It looks like we're doing something with base64 decoding of passwords on the client side in JavaScript. And that looks pretty suspicious. So let's now drill down into this file and see what's happening. I'll now close the search results. We don't need those anymore. I'll scroll up a little bit so I can see that complete script block. And I see something very worrying here. Or at least worrying if I'm the person who's meant to be protecting the site. It looks like password is stored in a cookie. We can see that on line 126. Now, if there is an email cookie and a password cookie, so neither of them are null, it's going to base64 decode that password. Now, what actually happens here, and a little bit of probing will easily discover this, is that the Remember Me feature on the website when selected, stores the actual user's email address and password in cookies, which is enormously insecure. By mirroring that website down to my local machine and simply searching for something that I know often yields interesting results, I've been able to discover this enormously quickly. So from a reconnaissance perspective, saving the site offline gives you, as an ethical hacker, some really powerful options. Now, of course, we are starting to get into the realm of hacking the web app rather than the web server. But this is a really powerful way of starting to understand how the server is going to be processing requests. And as I've said a few times now, the lines between server and app do sometimes get a bit blurry. But I thought this was really worthwhile showing, particularly given it's a process that hasn't been covered in that Hacking Web Applications course. Something I did cover in that course, but I now want to look at quite differently, is reconnaissance and footprinting. Let's go and take a look at that now.